No, I'm not reviewing a documentary on Jared from Subway, and no, Adrian Brody and Topher Grace are not anywhere in this movie. Yay! No, I'm just kidding. They were good in that movie. But seriously, The Predator. A sequel and sort of soft reboot. The, I believe, second soft reboot of the Predator franchise is, I'm not going to even mince words. It's like a love letter to fans of the original and its immediate sequel. This has everything you could want. Practical effects. Good CGI. Not too much good CGI. Basically CGI that's not bad, but it doesn't take control of the plot or the visuals. The real star is the sheer amount of practical effects we get. And you would not believe how many stunt people were involved. They went all out to make this thing as faithful to the original tech-wise as possible. Also, let me start over. This is where my brain stops working. Bottom line, this is a good movie. This is a movie for fans of the original too. This is a Predator movie I want a sequel to. And yes, they sequel begged, so hopefully we're getting more. We got a hero Predator and a villain Predator. Both are practically done, highly impressive. And the villain Predator reminds us just how intimidating these beasts are supposed to be. The human characters are like a classic action comedy five-man band of misfits who you just want to root for. Along with the hero Predator, believe it or not. We're actually rooting for a Predator again. Who knew? And the main leads, a scientist lady and a vet with PTSD almost. Well, maybe not PTSD, but pretty close. Let's say he's got baggage. I kind of was rooting for them to end up together. You know, a classic romantic subplot trope. But no, they just work together. These would-be tropes that I was seeing in this film were subversive, but in a good way. We get space battles, land battles, good predators versus bad predators, good humans versus bad humans. Oh, and the main villain, he was, I would say, equal parts competent and Dick Dastardly. Basically, he was a more competent Nick Dastardly. He was so fun to watch. I couldn't figure out whether or not he was crazy or just mildly obsessed with getting all that Predator tech. And yes, the tech is on display for the Predators. But it doesn't take center stage. The real center stage was taken by the humans and the aliens interacting with each other in various ways. And honestly, they did very well. I can't even describe how... Again, this is where my brain stops working. bottom line, if you are even a remote fan of the Predator franchise, or even the Alien vs. Predator franchise, you got to see this movie. It is the best of the originals with a little extra stuff thrown in that does not overpower the original stuff. We get compelling characters whom, when they're in peril, you're worried about. And we get a kid. Hear me out. The kid is one of the most relatable characters of all, believe it or not. Especially if you're on the spectrum. Yeah, that spectrum. And by the way, I said believe it or not. Sorry if I don't enunciate. This is where my tongue stops working. And amazingly, the kid's not a load. I expected him to be a load, and instead I get a relatable character. Who knew? The only problem with the overall experience was it was a bit long in places, but at the same time there seemed to be some abrupt cuts that made a few parts look choppy. The film is about 2 hours long, so I gotta wonder how long it was before those cuts were made. And oh, right, the music. Classic Predator. We get the original theme on steroids, but not succumbing to roid rage. It's got a couple other songs which complement the main theme. And it really made it feel like a Predator film. But sadly, no Little Richard music. That was the one missing element. But honestly, it didn't detract too much from the overall experience. The Predator is definitely the modern Predator film. Forget Brody, forget Grace, forget that other thing. In fact, forget AVP. I want this movie to spawn a bunch of good sequels which takes the Predatorverse farther than it's ever been before. And like I said, they sequel begged, so that's what I'm expecting. This is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, just stay out of the jungle and very, very warm climates. They like the heat.